Hi everyone, I am Kimmy, the founder of LumaRise, and I am here today with my neighbor Susan,
Hi.
who has been retired from the therapeutic industry. And we brought her here today to kind of give us a little bit of a perspective from the therapeutic side, kind of introducing LumaRise. So I will let Susan give you a little bit of background information on her credentials and what she's done in her career. So welcome, Susan.
Thank you for having me. I am so happy that you're doing this too. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you.
I was a counselor supervisor. I worked in residential facilities, kids mostly, dealt with both kids and their families. Also worked with some substance abuse, mostly in correctional facilities.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah. So I've had quite a variety of, from teaching school to being in the counseling system.
So with LumaRise, we are developing a platform that uses storytelling and community. So to help other people who are going through their healing process.
Right.
So what can you tell us a little bit of why storytelling is so important to the healing process?
I've been trying to figure out what it is that's been keeping me down, and now all of a sudden I understand. And you start talking about what's going on with you, and it's sort of it breaks the chain to begin with. It starts the process.
Right. So storytelling is actually one of the main key points when it comes to healing because you're able to get your story out, to
Right.
talk about what happened to you and how it impacted you,
Right.
and then learning from other people who have
Right.
gone through the same process.
Right. And it's being able to say it, to open up. I mean, you can think about it all you want, but once you open up your mouth and you actually say the words and you hear what you've just said, and other people have heard what you've said,
Mm-hmm.
and there's that, oh, see, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Absolutely. And then the thing about LumaRise that makes it so different is the fact that it's completely anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
So when you join the forum, you create this anonymous persona and you're able to share your story without any ties to your actual identity. How important is that to healing?
See, I think that is really important because when you are able to say things and there's not somebody looking back at you
Mm-hmm.
directly in your eyes, you feel like you can open up and say it, because otherwise you have those stumbling blocks that
Right.
people will throw up, their guard, not accept them as they are. They feel shame. They not feel validated. They don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. They're afraid they're going to lose somebody's respect if they tell them something that's going on. So this way, they don't have to worry about those negative responses.
Right. And that judgment that they get from
That's
that
the biggest
interaction.
thing, that judgment. But like I said, I think a lot of times they don't want to say something to somebody because they don't want that person to not like them. They feel like if they tell them this, they're not going to like them, or they're not going to respect them.
Yeah, fear of abandonment, fear of judgment, a lot of fear I'm hearing you talk about here.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So when it's anonymous, you don't have that fear factor.
No, you don't. And it's like I said, it's not like you're sitting and talking like you and I are sitting and talking. Somebody's actually looking at you at the same time. You can say it, and they don't. You don't have that same intensity.
Right. You could have the intensity, you just don't have the judgment that follows, or the consequent rumors, or any other fear that comes with saying your story out loud.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, all those things. We're always afraid. We're always afraid to disappoint somebody or to say something that somebody's going to take wrong, or
Right. Politically correct, all those things.
Well, we want to be we want to be seen in the best light, and this
Right.
is not necessarily the best light.
And talking about fear, what are some of those fears? What are some more blockers that people kind of put up that stop them from sharing their story?
Well, here again, that you don't want to say something that's going to embarrass you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to feel shame. That's the biggest thing, I think. somebody's not going to understand. They don't know where I've come from. They have no idea how bad this was. They're not going to understand. Nobody's going to understand. Nobody's been where I've been.
Until they read the story of someone else.
Exactly.
That's been there.
And probably worse.
Could be. Some worse, some not. But still that person can relate and understand.
Right.
That's a big deal when you're trying to heal.
Big. It is a big deal.
Yeah, because you're not alone anymore.
Well, you want to feel like all of a sudden you're heard. Somebody actually heard what I'm saying. They understand. They've accepted it. They're not judging me. And all of a sudden I don't quite feel so vulnerable.
So how can someone begin to move through these fears, like in a safe and supported way?
I think that what you're talking about is being able to sit down with people or being in a situation where you say what it is, and that's bothering you. Because before this, you won't say anything. You've held it in. You haven't done anything. It's sort of like having an open wound. You let it just fester and fester, and it gets worse and worse.
When you talk about an open sore, it just really brought to mind all the scars that we have. When they finally heal, you still have a scar there. You have some residual left over, but then you can turn that into joy.
Right.
Once you get past that healing point, that scar, it's a reminder, but it's not a definer.
No, and I think too that once you start talking to somebody or talking in a group, you feel like like I said, like you're validated, that people understand, and that I can go forward.
You just touched on a very important subject as, validation. I remember in therapy that was the most important key factor in the beginning. Like I needed that validation because I was minimizing everything to a level that made me feel like my situation wasn't that bad. But when my therapist sat down with me and she goes, "What are you talking about? That was horrible." I really needed that validation. And that's one thing that you can get from a community is other people having the same story gives you that validation.
So you take these steps as gradually coming out of your shell.
Right, absolutely. Coming out of that trauma victimhood.
Yes.
Yeah, because that victimhood can literally drag you down for your entire life.
Well, and you have people who are responding to you positively. They've been there. And you can tell, talking to them, there's that authenticity. They really, really believe what you're saying. They understand what you're saying. They've been there. And you can feel their pain just as well. And all of a sudden it's like, we're in this together. We can do this.
Which is one of our themes is together we rise.
Exactly. So I think it's very, 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 very good first step.
I guess that takes us to the end of our little interview here and our conversation. I want to thank you so much, Susan, for coming today and granting us this interview and filling in our audience on the therapeutic side.
No, I'm so happy to be here. And like I said, I so support what you're doing. I think it's very important, and especially in this day and time, because we can do everything over the internet, and sometimes the internet can be very painful and it can be very nasty and very ugly, whereas this is something that can really bring you out of all of that and into the light.
Absolutely.
And to be able to move forward and feel good about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Susan.
No, thank you for doing this.
Thanks.
I really, really appreciate it.
I hope that everyone else appreciates it someday soon.
I'm sure they will.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be launching soon and we will find out. So we want to thank you guys for joining us, and we welcome you to LumaRise, and we look forward to having you with us and having you join the community and getting out of what you need for your healing process. Thank you. We'll see you again soon.